Good evening. Thank you for joining us for another virtual town hall. Today is Wednesday, February 24th. I want to start off with recognizing the many lives that we've lost due to COVID. We have reached that 500,000 mark. I think that we can all agree that's been too many lives that could have been prevented if we all would have done the right thing from the beginning, if our federal government would have responded swiftly and accordingly to the emergency that we're facing. But we are where we are, and I just want to take a moment of silence to recognize the many lives that we've lost during this pandemic. All right, thank you. I will start with what is our custom to start with the numbers. As of today, we've got a total of 959,995 cases. Just in the last 24 hours, we had 1,842 cases, which is very promising because our trend continues downward from the 20-day average. The 20-day average right now as it stands is 2,537 cases. So being at 1,842 cases, that is a great improvement for where we have been and where we were in January. In the county, we're at 13,481 cases. So the county is also downward trending. So we're moving in the right directions with the vaccines being in place. We've have, just on the numbers I was looking at yesterday, 6% of the population has received in Ohio have received the 2 doses. And the numbers are only getting better as Governor DeWine and state officials have been able to secure more vaccines and improving the systems, the delivery systems of the vaccine. I know it for many of our residents, they're eager to get their vaccine, and that's just simply not enough because of the long wait list. And I know that that's a challenge, and that challenge is going to continue well through July. And that's our projection, as well as the projection for many professionals that the demand is so high, the production's low, and the distribution is struggling. So hang in there. We can't give up now. We have to hang on longer. And if you're reading the reports that I'm reading, even if you do get the vaccine, doesn't mean that everyone's out of the woods. We still have to continue practicing physical distancing, mask wearing, hand washing, because it can still be transmitted to others. So back March 13th of 2020, we said it was a marathon. We needed to prepare for the marathon, and it's become an ultra marathon now, and we just have to keep hanging on and keep doing what we're doing. So thank you. I've got a couple of announcements. The first one's related to the Ohio Jobs and Family Services fraud cases. We've heard reports, I read news reports about numerous identity thefts happening with the unemployment benefit claim process. One article last week referenced that there was as many as 33,000 unemployment insurance claim frauds or claims that were flagged for fraud. That's out of almost 170,000 claims that were filed at the beginning of February. So a lot of cases. And I know that this fraud is happening because I was one of those individuals whose identity was used to file a fraudulent unemployment claim. So I know it's happening. We've had 3 employees in the organization who've had their identity stolen and used to file unemployment claims. So it is real, it is happening. So if you get a letter from the Ohio Department of Jobs and Family Services with either a PIN number that's been assigned to you or a username and you did not file for unemployment and had no contact with them, report it to the Department of Job and Family Services, and you can report it at unemploymenthelp.ohio.gov. Let me make sure I've got that link appropriately. Yep, it is unemploymenthelp.ohio.gov. So that's our first announcement. Second announcement, our Wi-Fis are up and running. So we've got Wi-Fi up at Gone Park, at Hawthorne Apartment, Corey Street Apartments. So we're really excited that our Wi-Fi infrastructure is up. It's another access point for our residents or school children to receive internet service. So that's up. And we also have a pilot project that is in the work. I conducted a presentation a couple of weeks ago to council about a pilot project that we were looking to provide services, internet service to businesses and homes in a select region. So we're still working through that project. Just want to put it out there that we're working at it, and we hope to provide more information on who's eligible, what area is eligible, and what the service will look like. So we're looking to provide top tier to our top quality internet service faster than what's available right now through our primary key market player, Spectrum. And so I'm excited, and I know the team that is working with me on this project is really excited. That's the Springs Net folks. So we're making good progress there. We have great news to release soon in the near future. And there'll be a survey that would go out in the pilot area to gauge the interest of those individuals that would be eligible for it. And finally, we have a presentation on the Agraria bike path right after this town hall. So please stay tuned. Once we're done with all of our COVID announcements, we'll transition to the bike path presentation. And we've got a really exciting project with us. David, Gary, and Kate are joining us for that presentation. So I'm really looking forward to it. So with that, I will now pass the mic or the Zoom screen to Fire Chief Colin Altman. Chief?
Well, good evening, Josue, and good evening, fair citizens of Yellow Springs and Miami Township. Miami Township Fire Chief Colin Altman is coming to you live this evening from my beautiful new home here in the foothills of Southern California that I purchased with your unemployment claims. Yes, thank you, Josue, and the rest of the team. I was able to file those unemployment claims. They just shelled out the money, and here I am tonight with Johnny Burns, Shia LaBeouf, Nicki Minaj, and Nikki Haley. Okay, honestly, I did not file any false claims, but someone did on my behalf, much like Josue, and I was surprised one day when the fiscal officer came and asked me about my unemployment claim, especially since I just had a Board of Trustees meeting the night before, and they seemed to feel I still work there. So luckily I still do, and lucky for you people too. So tonight I'm here with what I always talk about, this pesky pandemic. When it's over, I guess I'll never have anything to talk about again, which is probably a good thing. So people still want vaccines. I think I just read that, here in Ohio, we've vaccinated like 1.5 million people so far, at least for a first dose, which is a good start. But there's plenty more to go. Starting Saturday, if you're 65 and up, I think you can get you're eligible for a vaccine. Of course, that means there has to be one for you, but help is on the way. It looks like the Johnson & Johnson single shot is going to be approved hopefully this weekend by the FDA under an EUA. So that's very good news. That'll be one more arsenal and one more weapon in the arsenal. And I did hear this morning that everyone's excited now, all the vaccine producers. So they're promising somewhere like 800 million doses that are going to be delivered in the United States by the end of the summer, which is interesting since there's only 325 million people in the United States. I'm not sure where those extra doses will go, hopefully to the rest of the planet that could probably use them. Talk about your privilege. But anyway, so more help is coming. The Johnson & Johnson single shot is good news as well. Finally, we have test kits. You want to know if you got the COVID? It's important. You should know. So we have free test kits courtesy of the state of Ohio and the federal government at the fire station. You can come pick up Tuesday through Saturday, 9:30 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. These test kits allow you to conduct your own COVID test in the privacy of your own home. Just you and some proctor person from eMed Corporation who will talk you through the process. I did it today just to see how easy it was so that we could talk people through it. And it is a very easy process, takes about 20 minutes total, and it's a very good thing. You'll get results. It's about 90% effective, and you will know if you have COVID or not. If you don't have COVID, you get this really cool, you can't see it. Darn it. Oh, there it is. Looks like a green airline boarding pass. So it either means that you don't have COVID or you're booked for a flight on Aer Lingus. But it's good for 7 days. So once you test negative, it's good. So it can be used for schools to get back in school, for your employer if they told you need to get a negative test before you come back. And again, they're free. Your tax dollars at work. So come to the fire station. Before you come to the firehouse, however, you must download an app. You can look on our Facebook page or on the Village's Facebook page. It'll tell you where to get it. It's called Navica. It's available in both the Apple App Store and on Google Play, whatever that may be, for those of you who use that weird Android system. You must then download it, install it on your phone, and create an account for you and all those who you want to test, and then we can give you the kits. Again, pretty simple, works pretty well, and it's free. Free, people. So meet us at the firehouse. We'll give you one. We'll let you see what our lobby looks like too. It's very exciting. So that's about it. Without any further ado, I'm going to throw it back to you, Josue.
Thank you so much, Chief. And also joining us tonight is Police Chief Brian Carlson. Chief.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks, Josue. No big news from the police department. We've had everyone here that can be vaccinated has been vaccinated. As you know, we've been busy with the snow emergency. It's been great to see warm weather. It brings a little spirit back out, and we're excited about that. Just two things to mention tonight. So I was another employee here whose information was used, and I want to repeat that web address that Josue mentioned, unemploymenthelp.ohio.gov. unemploymenthelp.ohio.gov. Right at the top in the middle of the screen is a report fraud. That's pretty much what you need to do if you receive any notification with your information on it. And the other thing I wanted to mention is we are seeing an uptick in fraudulent phone calls to residents, particularly seniors. So remember, if someone calls you, don't give out any personal information, no banking information, social security numbers, any information. You can contact us if you'd like us to see if we could verify the number, but you can also report that directly to the Attorney General's website as well. But remember, someone who calls you that you did not reach out to, someone who calls you that asks for any personal or banking information, it's not legitimate. It won't happen from any government organization, and it's not legitimate from any private business. Again, if you have any questions or you feel that someone is harassing you on the phone, please give us a call and we will help immediately. That's it from the PD. Thanks, everyone. Josue, back to you.
Thank you, Chief. I wonder if it was the same fraudster that decided to file unemployment claims for all three of us. And he thought that wouldn't get flagged or what. Anyway, just last commentary on that. I had to also call Brian Housh, president of council, and say, hey, Brian, ethics calls you or the Department of Ohio Job and Family Services call you, I am not filing for unemployment insurance. So it is unbelievable of the level of sophistication that is happening with the unemployment insurance claim fraud. So be vigilant, be vigilant about it. And I have tongue-tied today. So be on the lookout for any documentation from the Ohio Department of Job and Family Services, and watch out for those calls. All right, also joining us tonight is Mayor Pam. Mayor, thank you for joining us.
Oh, I'm on. I'm busy going through my mail to make sure I didn't get anything from the folks that you're just talking about there. And by gosh, I guess out of you fellas, I'm the one that didn't get anything. So far, so good. But I'm going to keep my eyes open. So nobody's trying to cash in on my dollar with the village. All right, I have one announcement for you tonight, which I hope might be of use to some of you, and that is that the Ohio Department of Health is running a series of 4, what they're calling Ohio COVID-19 vaccine town halls. Now, these 4 town halls, I just got this email on Thursday. On Friday, I sent some of the information, the publicity, to Philip and Sean here at our trusty Channel 5. They prepared some slides, pulled some slides to show you maybe tonight about these town halls that are going to specifically deal with vaccines. And even better, they're talking about 4 specific groups, minority groups in the state of Ohio, and how the vaccine distribution might affect them. Now, because I just got this information on Friday, guess what? The first town hall was on Monday, live streaming. The second one was on Tuesday. On Monday night, it was on African Americans and their some of the particular issues they may have to deal with the vaccine. And on Tuesday night, last night, it was on our Hispanic population here in Ohio. These videos will all be, these town halls will all be streamed at a future date. The Department of Health isn't quite sure yet what that date will be. My guess is it's going to be in March, mid-March, after the other town halls have aired. I watched the first 2, and they were very interesting. Not only did they repeat and give me some information about the vaccine and how that's working out, it also emphasizes some of the particular concerns of some of our minority populations here in Ohio. So while you have missed the first 2 live, there are still 2 more to come, which you might find interesting. I know I will. On March 1st, Asian and Pacific Islanders in Ohio will be specifically addressed. On March 2nd, rural Ohioans will be specifically addressed. Now, these town halls go from 6:30 to 7:30. If you miss watching them live, you can watch them on the slide on the screen right now on Channel 5 anyway. It's reminding you you can watch them on Facebook or on YouTube, and of course our own Spectrum Channel 5, or the town hall website through the Department of Health, which is pretty easy to remember. It's easy to look up. coronavirus.ohio.gov/town hall. Again, that's coronavirus. There it is on the screen. coronavirus.ohio.gov/town hall. Thank you for putting that up, Sean and Philip, because it's helpful to see the address where we can write it down. So again, they will stream at a later date in March. You can look it up on that website right there, and they will tell you when they're going to be accessible once they know. I found it of interest during that 6:30, 7:30 hour. You can set your little laptop or your iPad up in the kitchen while you're doing your supper preparations and listen to it, if nothing else. So I hope that's of use to some of you. That is all I want to share with you tonight. I'm really looking forward to hearing the presentation on the Agraria bike trail on Mary's Way and everything that folks have to share with us. So with that in mind, have a wonderful evening, everyone. I'm going to get my popcorn now and be prepared for the next presentation. Back to you, Josue.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Mayor Pam. All right, and now we will open the town hall for questions. I know there's a bit of a delay between our live feed here and Facebook and YouTube, so we'll give it a couple seconds for folks to type in their questions on the chat box, either YouTube or Facebook. And Philip, let me know when you have any questions. Okay. All right, so no questions. I take that as reassuring that we are thorough in our presentations and providing timely updates. So I also want to thank our viewers. I know that I get many praises when I'm out either at Tom's or just walking about, that they appreciate the town halls and getting updates, regular updates through this channel. So we plan to continue town halls as a form of providing presentations or delivering information that the residents find useful, and there are things that they ask for. A good example of those presentations is recently we conducted a presentation on the Betty Hughes Park and revitalization of that park. So we put that out there. Just Philip yesterday uploaded a short 10-minute video on the overall presentation, and as a result of that, I had some folks follow up, and we'll be looking to do some incremental improvements. A good example of that, or what Councilmember Marianne McQueen requested, was could we put the picnic tables back up? And that we're looking into that. We'll be working on a project to put back, at least to replace the picnic tables that we took out because of the bad shape that they were in. So that's another example of us putting out information that our residents find useful, and it helps continue the conversation about what are the things we want to see done in our community and how do we improve things in our community. Any questions? One question? Kellyanne, all right. So, question, Kellyanne, was the village HR info breached? No. Our understanding is that none of the information that we own and that we control, such as our HR files or our finance system, none of those systems have been breached. It's unclear to me exactly where the breach of the data occurred, but it seems that it's specific to the Ohio Department of Jobs and Family Services. But our information hasn't been breached. Our HR and accounting software is something that we host on site, so it's not some database on the cloud. It's hosted in our servers, and it's only accessible through our own network. So there's no access to it from outside our network or outside of the VPN. And our VPNs are secure in a way that it's fixed to a device. So they're installed on the device by our IT team. So we are confident that it's not a data breach on our end. Colin, I don't know if you have anything to add, or Chief, you have anything to add on that.
No, it's just some young hooligans out there causing problems. You know how those kids are.
Yeah.
Or it could be the Chinese government. Maybe it's the Chinese government. Next week, maybe I'll come from China and we'll see where we can come up with.
So, but it's clearly very targeted. It's very targeted, that in our organization, they got me, who's a manager, and Police Chief Carlson, and they got Colin Altman. So, it doesn't seem to me as random, or less random is that they just got the top managers of the organization. So that's all I can say, but I will look into it. This is something that I've been watching, particularly because there were so many challenges with the filing of unemployment claims. There was a huge backlog in the process, and folks who needed their unemployment benefit. They didn't have a job, they couldn't buy food and couldn't make ends meet. And there is such a backlog of filing, processing these claims, that folks weren't getting their unemployment benefit. And then there's an overreaction of the department to process or allow processing of all those claims just to get these benefits out the door. And they expose themselves to this fraudulent activity. And I know a couple weeks ago, Governor DeWine brought in experts in the field to help things out, or just move things along at the Department of Jobs and Family Services. Their system was antiquated, outdated data systems and processes, and so they needed a lot of work. So I've been following that news for a while, but hopefully for the next town hall, there'll be more information as to what the data breach is, because it is something of concern. If the entire database of the Department of Jobs and Family Services has been breached, that's a lot of data. That's all the payroll information of so many employers and so many folks working in the state. So that would be alarming. So I'm sure there'll be more news to come on that topic. What's the other question, Philip? A comment? I don't see it. Is it from Brian Hausch? Okay. Oh. Brian Hausch said, thank you for sharing the details about the vaccine-related town halls, Mayor Pam. All right, I think that's it for questions. So I will now introduce David Diamond. David Diamond is here to talk about the Agraria bike trail, a really exciting project. So thank you, Colin and Chief, for joining us. We'll now transition to the presentation. And thank you, Vicky, or ALS interpreter.
Okay. Thank you so much, Josue. Could you enable the screen sharing for what we talked about? As he said, I'm David Diamond. I'm the education coordinator at Agraria. And thank you so much to Josue and to Sean and everyone at the village who's been helpful in inviting us to present here tonight and to get this set up. We're very excited about this trail. The big news is that we're on track to open in August. There's all kinds of preparations going on. And we're going to fill you in on a lot of the details. I thought to begin with, I wanted to ask Gary Zaremski to speak to you. He's been kind enough to join us. Gary is a community member and bike enthusiast, and he's been with us since the beginning of when we really started thinking about doing this trail. It's something that came up very early on, before the property was even, just after Community Solutions purchased the property that is now Agraria. One of the big ideas that came out of our planning sessions with the community was to build bike trail. And we're so delighted to be able to proceed with that now. And so Gary wanted to give a little overview of the benefits of bike trails in general and some things about the Agraria trail in specific. And I'll just let him do that and maybe show you some pictures and things along the way. And so go ahead. Thank you so much, Gary Zaremski.
Okay, well, thank you. Actually, I wanted to say first, back to the unemployment fraud, that we got hit too, or at least got, I forgot from what agency, I have it in another room, but for Mary Beth, for my wife, we got the formal form that you would use to include with your tax return in terms of having received the benefit. And, we got that. At least it came with a brochure telling you what to do in case it was fraud. Well, it was Mary Beth's been retired for 5 years. And so who knows how they got our information or whatever. So I've been hearing it's pretty broadly, no one's being spared in terms of different groups. Well, anyway, bike trails. So as David mentioned, I want to talk just a few minutes about the benefits of bike trails. I was going to talk a little bit about the general benefits of bike trails, and then tie it in with the specific benefits with the Agraria Trail, where there are some unique aspects of it. There's a few categories of benefits. The general ones, there's environmental benefits, health benefits, transportation benefits, and certainly in the case of Agraria, there's also benefits in terms of helping achieve Agraria's goals of community outreach and education. And I'll speak briefly to each of those. So environmentally, bicycling in general is a travel mode with a minimal carbon footprint compared to certainly, automotive traffic. So that's a benefit. And bicycling, just being a bicycler helps reinforce an ongoing awareness of climate concerns. And in particular, the Agraria Trail, the route that it's taking, it's not just simply a way to get from A to B. The Agraria Trail will provide access to several natural areas. It'll transverse diverse habitats, and the intention is to use the bike trail, or the multi-use trail really is what it is, as a way to access these different sites, which will then be rolled into the educational programs. Other benefit of bicycling in general is health. And actually bicycling benefits both physical health and mental well-being, which in the COVID era is a big concern. So the physical benefit is fitness. And that's valuable since current numbers indicate that about 1/3 of all Americans are overweight. And just very simply, that impacts medical costs and life expectancy, which are all important things for us. And in conjunction with that, in terms of health, majority of Americans exercise less than 30 minutes a day. I can't imagine, period. Some don't exercise at all. And the Center for Disease Control recommendation is to exercise several times a week. So it's an easy, low impact way to exercise. Also, mental health, mental well-being actually is greatly benefited both by physical movement and being outdoors. So bicycling helps achieve that benefit, which certainly for me has been the mainstay of my maintaining my sanity the last many months as we have been going through this pandemic. As a side note, I do bicycle year round as long as the roads are clear. And so it's been a huge relief in the winter to be able to get out. The last aspect of it is transportation. And this is sort of interesting, and I pulled some numbers together. Most of this is from the stuff I received from Eric Oberg and some broad, large slide presentations from Rails to Trails sources. To begin with, this is really broad brushstroke. United States, most trips in America are less than 3 miles, And think about it, in Yellow Springs, you hop in the car and you go to the grocery store, or you go to a friend, or you drop a kid off at school. Most trips are really small. And in conjunction with this, and I find this interesting because the date goes back to even when I was in school. From 1969 to 2004, the portion of kids walking or biking to school has been reduced from 50% to 14%. So there's been a slow generational shift towards less and less, more and more transportation with motor vehicles, and that's just what's gone on. And the other interesting data point with transportation and the benefit of, or the nice thing supporting bike trails is also in the last generation, there's been a dramatic increase in bike trails going from 1989 to 2000, year 2000, the total miles of bike trails increased from 200 miles back in 1989. There were a handful of them. They were very scattered around and not at all coordinated. Till today, there's 26,000 miles of bike trails in the United States. Some are quite interconnected, which is the case in Ohio. Ohio in particular might have the largest network of bike trails in the country, which for bicycle enthusiasts like me, I find very, very cool. So anyway, the last element of what I want to mention is a little more focused on Agraria itself, and it's the community outreach, and educational benefits of having this bike trail as part of their program. One of the things, although it's tied in with the earlier topics, the Agraria Bike Trail will provide access. The bike trail will provide access to Agraria without driving. and avoiding the very busy Yellow Springs Dayton Road. So it helps in the outreach. You don't have to, you can get there simply, which is a form of outreach. It should be more inviting, having that sort of access. And so in general, along those lines, having this bike trail will improve the connectivity between Agraria and Yellow Springs, and actually the high school in general. I've walked the path with David and a group of people with this, and it's just intriguing the way it will connect. And what's also the case, which is still to be developed, is the trail will provide a key entry point to Agraria. The plan is at Agraria to have, as you come into Agraria on the bike trail, that'll be the entry point. It'll be very welcoming and have infrastructure there, and all integrated in. And once again, all of this is to help Agraria's, really should help further Agraria's broad goals of education and community outreach and all. So those are the comments that I had. And I guess I'll ask if anybody had any questions having to do with bike trails in general or this in particular. David showed a couple little slides of showing the route, which in some places showed trees being cut down or trampled down, dirt trail. And, does anybody have any questions?
Thank you, Gary. We have several folks. Kate, I see that you're speaking. Did you want to unmute yourself? Oh, okay. All right, well, anyone here on Zoom can just unmute themselves. And Philip, do we have any questions that have come in through Facebook or YouTube? Okay.
I see a couple of things that have come in from Eric Oberg, who's been a huge supporter as well and a great source of information and knowledge since he works for Rails to Trails. We are hosting, it's true, he said Agraria is hosting after school programming tomorrow and for a few weeks to come. And, we have some McKinney students from the middle school coming, like Eric's son that he mentions. And he says he can't ride to Agraria right now, and Eric will have to drive him. Once the trail is in, he can ride himself there. This is a single experience, but they'll be compounded by so many more. I think that's a really excellent point, and we're going to get to the school part of it in a minute here when we hear from Kate Lohmeyer, who's been kind enough to join us too this evening. I just wanted to give everyone a brief overview of where we are right now, and I'm going to share a map of the trail. It's an approximation of the planned route. You can see there winding from Agraria out through some woods, crossing a stream, the Jacoby Creek at a couple points, and going out to the high school where it will finish out at East Enon Road. And that has been made possible because of, first of all, because of a $500,000 grant that we were able to win from ODNR, their Clean Ohio Trails program. And we were able to, with the help of everyone in the community who supported and gave us information, and all of the help of a lot of the staff at Agraria too, we were able to win that grant, and the construction is on track to begin this spring. Again, we're hoping to be able to open it in August. We have some we have cleared so far. We got help from the National Civilian Conservation Corps, the NCCC, which is a wonderful organization of young people working for the government that travel the country, participating in environmental projects. And so far, they've cleared more than 2 acres of invasive honeysuckle. They worked with us in November and December, and our staff continues that work now. Instead of the honeysuckle, we have hickories and oak trees that we're going to plant along the trail once it's been completed, and maybe even before it's completed. A lot of the timeline depends on what people from the community want to participate. As I believe somebody mentioned already this evening, the trail is going to be named Mary's Way, and that is in honor of Mary and Rick Donahoe, who have been really great and big supporters of the project. Mary and Rick are property owners between us and the high school, and they decided to donate some of their property so that the trail could exist, and it wouldn't be possible without them. So we are very proud to honor Mary Donahoe's memory by calling the trail Mary's Way. And the trail itself is going to wind through at least 4 distinct and beautiful ecosystems, and cross Jacoby Creek. And to see some of this, we have prepared a short video that I'm going to share with you right now. Feel free along the way to type any questions that might come up into the chat. Oh, before I share that too, let's see, I wanted to share one picture. I shared a picture before of you could see some trees that had been cut down, but I wanted to get to a different picture here. And you can see those pictures that we did cut down. Some of them are those trees that we did have to cut down. We tried to, in designing the trail, which is ongoing, we're trying to avoid the best trees for habitat that are out there. Many of the trees that were cleared are ones that will make really good fence posts, maybe not as large trees, not as old. We've also tried to be very aware of the understory. There's some precious understory plants out there that we really want to continue to have. So you can see here we have some fence posts that some of the tree trunks have already been painted for fence posts, and we have a lot of Osage orange out there. And so if anybody needs any firewood, get in touch with me, because we do have quite a bit of firewood that we've cut up. You can see our sustainable land manager, Gabby Amrine, here standing with some of that. So let me share this video with you. It's about 3 minutes, and it's just some footage that we put together of a staff walk that Gary was on with us in January. So let me just find that very quickly here. And, I think I should optimize that from what I've read. Here we go. And all right. this whole area of woods that was donated by Rick Donahoe. Up now we're coming out of the high school. And here we are. Okay, so hopefully you could hear what I was saying. Oh, the soundtrack was drowning out my speaking. I apologize for that. I was just narrating a little bit where we were along the trail, and it was hard for me to gauge what the sound is like from here. But we started out in the woods near Agraria. There's some good bird habitat there that we were pointing out. And then we didn't have any footage of the, we were walking along one of our farm fields. We didn't have the footage of the land that the Donahoes donated for this project, but let's see. Yeah, here's a picture of what that looks like right now. We've had some native prairie grow back in there, and we're going to try to maintain that. Some of that will be wetland as well. So you'll be, when you're on the trail, you're going to be going through wetland and 2 different ages of forest and alongside farm fields. And it's going to be a very visually and really exciting and engaging ride or walk. The fact that it's a little bit less than a mile in length means that it's going to be very walkable by the people from the village, and we really encourage everyone to come out and visit. And also, it's going to be ADA accessible. That's one thing we're very excited about. It will start right from East Enon Road. And so, anyone with mobility challenges should be able to enjoy the trail and come out to Agraria as well without having to get in a car. So that's another aspect that we are very excited about. Our plans for the trail include a bicycle repair station and a gathering area at Agraria. And a full spectrum of educational partnership opportunities with Yellow Springs Schools, which has been our main educational partner so far. And we're going to have Kate talk about that in a minute, and other school districts. There's, skill sharing workshops, gatherings, and conferences that people can come out to at Agraria by walking or biking. And we're very much looking forward to having that integrated into that. Future visions for the trail include interpretive signage, an education pavilion, and a welcome center to be located in the basement of our historic barn. And we look forward to exchanging ideas with everyone about that. As far as how you can get involved, I'm just going to put this slide up for a minute. Because it has my email address on it. We have many naming opportunities still for people who are interested in supporting the trail financially. We want to put a food forest in at some point along the trail, which is going to take some land management and some funding there, some benches. The gathering area that I mentioned with an installed repair station, it's really a very cool thing that you can buy commercially that has a bunch of bike tools installed in it. We can use it educationally with the students as well. I wanted to let everyone know that we have visioning walks planned on March 20th, April 22nd, and also Mother's Day and Father's Day. And please contact me for details about that, and also about a community advisory group. We have a community advisory group that is being formed currently to make sure that there's good communication between Agraria and the village about how this goes. And that's off to a great start. If you are interested in any of these initiatives, please contact me. David Diamond at communitysolution.org is my email address. And I'd be happy to share that independently of this meeting as well. So without further ado here, I wanted to call on Kate Lohmeyer. Kate, thank you so much for being willing to join us. Kate is a teacher at McKinney Middle School and also, well, throughout really all levels in physical education. And I'm sure you can explain all that better. Some of the benefits, a lot of the benefits are going to go for the village, and also particularly for the schools, both Mills Lawn and McKinney Middle and high school students. And Kate, if you would tell us a little bit more about that, that'd be terrific.
Sure, thanks. Yeah, thank you, David, and thank you, Council, for having me here tonight. I think what this really provides is another opportunity to allow for kind of the Yellow Springs Schools precedent of taking the learning beyond the physical structure of the school and immersing students in their own educational experiences. This provides another pathway for that. And I think too, it also provides another mirror for what our students see modeled every day in this community. So it's a lifelong learning opportunity in and of itself. It is, as I said, it's a mirror shining back on the model that this community has already set in utilizing the Little Miami Scenic Trail for all of the wonderful reasons that Gary mentioned earlier. And as you're mentioning, David, the opportunities, the educational opportunities are abound, not only with the access and connection to Agraria itself, but the learning that happens along the path and the opportunity for another wellness resource to be kind of placed right here in the community that already values and models that value on a daily basis. There's obvious benefits from the educational standpoint, being able to take your learning outside and use and immersing students in nature is going to ping off those social emotional competencies and the mental health pieces that Gary was talking about earlier or referencing earlier, and again supports the Yellow Springs model through the schools of developing the whole child. It really is providing those socialization and self-regulation benefits as well. It's helping young people understand how time spent in their community and time investigating and exploring and being curious about their own backyard, so to speak, can create a stewardship with the land itself. And then the young people learn to care for the environment in which they exist. And it continues to reinforce the values, again, modeled in the community. So I think the educational opportunities abound. We have used, in partnership with Gary has been with us using that Little Miami Scenic Trail to take seventh graders on an adventure for the last 4 years. Middle school science classes and high school science classes have been partnering with Agraria and exploring the outdoors through bluebirds and macroinvertebrate studies. I think this also opens the opportunity for our students to become experts in outdoor education and then invite other student communities in to see and participate in lifelong learning. So there's so many benefits or so many relational components that also really reinforce connection to these values that are rooted in this community and established and entrenched in the schools and have been for a very long time. So it's a very exciting opportunity. There's nothing better than a walking meeting or a walking brainstorm or trying to solve a problem while you're moving. The power of being able to take our learning outdoors and the access this provides to yet another outdoor resource in this community is fantastic. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much, Kate. I just want to acknowledge the central role that Yellow Springs Schools has always played at Agraria. I mean, we've had, before we were even open for anything else, we hosted the Into the Wild presentation in our barn. And it's been so inspiring to see all the seventh graders out there showing the parents the websites that they designed and the stories that they wrote and the poems that they wrote. and the history that they learned, and the science. And also we've hosted third graders for a number of years now, a few years from Mills Lawn, Peg Morgan's class that's come out and done some wonderful studies of the decay or the health of our soil. They did it by burying white cotton underwear and seeing how it decomposed over time. So to have that kind of science being done is very inspiring, and that kind of relationship with the schools is really central to us. And this trail is just really going to deepen that relationship. We have a question from Mike Finelli. Will there be marked signage to connect cyclists from the Little Miami Trail and Mary's Trail? Yes, that is a really excellent question, and we are absolutely planning on that. We're applying for several other grants and trying to figure out where, how we can do as much signage as we need. That's also what these community visioning and fundraising walks are about. Yes, we want people who are on the Little Miami Scenic Trail to know to come downtown and to enjoy Yellow Springs. And they do that already, but to know that, they might want to come out for an event at Agraria that they've heard about, and to know where that is and how that connects. We really look forward to those connections being deepened through the active transportation plan. That's something that is going to, there's a good connection already between Little Miami Scenic Trail and Agraria Trail and Mary's Way. And so that active transportation plan is just going to strengthen those connections and allow even easier access for everyone. Let's see, then, I see Mr. Lang there. It's actually Nikki. Hi. And you say, is the plan still to connect Mary's Way to the Little Miami Trail via upgrades to the South College path? Yes, that's something that I've been talking with Eric and Brian Hausch about recently. And that is definitely the plan as part of the active transportation plan. It's just not exactly sure what the timing of that South College work is going to be at this point. We know that we have to build the Agraria Trail this year, so we don't know exactly, but eventually, yes, all these pieces are going to come together to make Agraria extremely bikeable from the Little Miami Scenic Trail, and to really connect that community of bicyclists and, anybody who wants to walk it too. That's a big key, that it's going to be open to all those folks, even those with mobility challenges.
David, may I add something to that?
Absolutely.
The South College path. As you know, this is one of our projects that we've been working on, and we hope to rebuild and repair the shared path on South College in a multi-year project, because it's quite lengthy. So it is on our project list, but our work just doesn't stop there. We also have the active transportation plan and the grant that we received from ODOT for $1.8 million, and that is to make repairs to the shared path lane along Dayton Street. So there'll be two paths that will connect up to the high school: South College Street on one side and the path on Dayton Street. So those would be two avenues. The project for the $1.8 million that we received from ODOT, we're in the design phases of that. So you might have seen some survey crews out surveying that area, and we sent notifications to property owners in the vicinity to inform them of the surveying work that is underway.
Well, that's very exciting. Thank you so much, Josue, for that information. I want to, let's see, I'm just making sure we didn't miss any questions. We'd be happy, again, to have people ask more questions or give their input. I'm going to put this slide up one more time. We have these visioning walks planned, March 20th, April 22nd, also Mother's Day and Father's Day. And get in touch with me if you're interested in being on those walks. We want to make sure that we are COVID safe, and we, of course, are wearing masks and distancing during those walks. And we've been had a really good track record with that happening so far. A lot of things going on in Agraria. Make sure you watch our website, communitysolution.org, and also our various social media platforms if you're on Facebook or Instagram, and watch those for details about what's going on at Agraria. The community advisory group, contact me about that. And there's my email again. If nobody has anything else to add, I want to once again, I want to thank Josue and everyone at the village for your generosity in giving us your time here this evening, allowing us to come and speak. And thanks everyone for attending. We really look forward. Thank you, Gary and Kate, for sharing your perspectives. And we really look forward to the next stages of this as we prepare for this big Agraria Trail opening in August. It's one of the things where, you know, we've all been looking for light at the end of the tunnel. There's a lot of good light out there on the trail. So that's one thing that I've had my eyes on, and thanks for the opportunity to come and share it.
David, before we break away, before we go, I think that there were some questions raised earlier that it's good to provide answers again. And I said again because you've answered them through your presentation indirectly, but I think they're worth answering directly. One of those questions was from someone online that asked, let me see, this is from John Day. I'm a big supporter of cycling, education, Agraria's activities, and connecting the Yellow Spring schools with Agraria with a path. However, I wonder whether the bike path will really generate enough traffic to justify a paved path. Agraria's mission is about responding to climate change, but energy-intensive asphalt path seems to run counter to the idea. What about gravel or other material? And you talked about the accessibility and whatnot. I think that if you want to elaborate on that.
Yeah, thank you so much. I did miss that question as I was flipping through everything. So thank you very much for catching that. And thanks, John, for asking. Yes, you know, we did look at several options and we did look at gravel in designing this trail. We really wanted to have that ADA accessibility for students and for community members. That was one big concern, and to make it the trail very accessible to hikers of any age as well as bikers, because it's really a multi-use trail. And that was really the main concern in deciding to go with asphalt. That there is, you know, there are design considerations, and it's really nice to have gravel from an environmental perspective, but it just came down to wanting, you know, to prioritize accessibility for various members of the community, not just vigorous bikers, but anyone who wanted to participate in the trail. Those were really the overriding concerns with the design.
Great, thank you, David. And then one other point I would like to make is just, well, I don't know if it's not necessarily the point, but thank you and the team for the work that you guys have put into this. It's not easy to secure, you know, many of the grants or any of the grants that are out for this kind of activity. And for your team, you and the team to have done it with such a high value amount from Clean Ohio money, that requires a lot of work and creative work. It's got to be a great project. And I think that that's what you guys have accomplished. It's a great project. It shows that there's a great need for it. And you guys were working on this before COVID. And now that we have to deal with COVID and the importance of health and well-being and the need for having access to outdoor spaces, for all the things that you and Kate and Gary had mentioned, it is even more important now to have these resources and these opportunities in our community. So just want to thank you for putting all the hard work that you did to secure this money from Clean Ohio, which is not an easy thing to do. It's not an easy thing to do. You know, we've been writing grants ourselves, and I feel so lucky that we've been able to secure some of the things that we secure funding for, because it's just not easy. It's not easy to do. So thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you so much. Thanks again for that, Josue. It was very difficult process and a learning process for all of us, but it helped us. It helps us to focus our energy on what we wanted to create, and you know, I think it's just so nice how it dovetails with the ODOT grant that you guys were able to secure, and I really look forward to seeing how those partner up to make this entire community with its resources really much more opened up to foot and bike transportation.
All right, excellent. Philip, any questions? All right, I think there's no questions coming through online. So thank you, David. We're going to play the video that you presented. We're going to have it played at the end of the stream so that viewers at home will get to see the video again. And also, when we reproduce this for our web content, such as Philip's going to upload the presentation just on this topic so that we can share it, we can replay it on Channel 5 as many times as we need to, so that more of our residents are able to view the content.
Terrific, and we'll definitely want to get, you know, a copy of that as it's available and be able to link to it. So let's stay in touch. We want to promote that and make sure that the information gets out there.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for joining us tonight. For that, I want to wish you good night.
Thank you.
And here we are.